At least one person is reported killed as Israeli police used tear gas and water cannons against Palestinian protesters. They're marking the annual event called Land Day, remembering the death of 6 Arabs killed by police in demonstrations against a land grab by Israel. That was back now in 1976. There have also been various reports of unrest at checkpoints in the West Bank. RT's Paula Sleer is at one of them now and joins us live. Paula, we've seen the footage of armoured cars, tear gas, water cannons being used, now getting reports of 130 people wounded across the West Bank. What's the latest from your location now?
Well, these Land Day demonstrations have turned deadly, with reports coming through of at least one person who has been killed along the Israel-Gaza border at Erez. That is according to Palestinian sources, and we're also hearing from the Red Cross that says more than 130 Palestinian protesters have been injured across the West Bank. Now, I'm here at the Kalandia checkpoint between Jerusalem and Ramallah, where the situation remains incredibly tense. The protests started just after midday today, Friday, and although demonstrations often happen here at Kalandia, today they are particularly fierce and they started earlier than normal. Now, throughout the last few hours, there have been ambulances scurrying forwards and backwards carrying the injured. We know that some people have been seriously injured. The Israeli police have been responding with rounds of rubber bullet and tear gas. They've also been using a vehicle to spray water cannons at the protesters, but they've also emitted a device that has this awful smell, and that has been in an effort to try and push the crowds you see behind me further into the city of Ramallah. They've also activated a machine that emits this very high sound frequency, that too in an effort to get protesters to disperse. At the same time, the protesters themselves have been hurling huge chunks of concrete at the Israeli border police. We're witnessing the same kinds of scenes at other checkpoints across the West Bank, because the West Bank at this stage is in shutdown. Now, elsewhere in Jerusalem, Israeli police are on high alert. We know that there have been scenes of violence, arrests and unrest at the old city of Jerusalem. In the West Bank, we're hearing reports of an 8-year-old who has been injured, and as I mentioned earlier, at the Israel-Gaza checkpoint, reports of at least 5 people injured and reports of 1 person killed.
Paula, one might assume that today's demonstrations are just limited to the area surrounding you, but we understand here at RT that it actually has a much broader geographical implications.
Yes, this demonstration really has been dubbed the Global March to Jerusalem, and we've witnessed support from some 82 countries. And that is why Israeli embassies throughout Europe and the United States are also in the highest state of alert as protesters gather in front of these embassies to show their support to today's landmark demonstrations. And essentially their message is one of support for the Palestinian people and a call for Israel to end its occupation. Now, along the Israeli-Jordanian border, we are receiving reports that at least some 20 to 30,000 people have gathered there, and that is according to Jordanian reports. There are, as of yet, no reports of violence coming out of Jordan, but we do understand that the situation there is incredibly tense. Along the Israel-Lebanon border, the Lebanese army is on a state of high alert. We know that some 2,000 to 3,000 protesters have gathered there. At the moment, the mood there is rather cheerful. We are witnessing scenes of families who've gathered along the border, waving Palestinian flags, really to mark their support for the Palestinian cause. And also participating in these demonstrations is a group that is calling itself Jews United Against Zionism, and they too are Jewish supporters of the Palestinian cause who've been holding up Palestinian flags and showing their support for these Land Day commemorations.
All right, so RT's Paula Sleer there joining us live from a checkpoint between Ramallah and Jerusalem. Thank you very much indeed.